When you have a panel feeding a 12-inch by 12-inch fiberglass box with 3 1-inch ENT conduits, and these conduits leave the box in PVC, you need to consider the bonding requirements. The question is whether the connection to the panel provides the necessary bond, or if bond bushings are required as per NEC 314.3. The connection to the panel does not provide the bond in this scenario. Therefore, bond bushings are indeed required. Let's break down why. Firstly, understand the purpose of bonding. Bonding ensures a low impedance path for fault current. This path is crucial for the overcurrent protective device, such as a circuit breaker or fuse, to quickly and effectively clear a fault. Secondly, consider the materials involved. EMT conduit is a metallic raceway and provides a good grounding path. However, fiberglass is a non-conductive material. PVC conduit is also a non-conductive material. When transitioning from EMT to PVC at a fiberglass box, the electrical continuity of the grounding path is interrupted. Thirdly, examine NEC 314.3. This section of the National Electrical Code addresses the requirements for bonding metal enclosures. While a fiberglass box itself doesn't require bonding, the metal conduits entering and exiting it do when they are intended to serve as the equipment grounding conductor. Fourthly, analyze the path of fault current. If a fault occurs within the EMT conduit system, the fault current needs a continuous, low impedance path back to the source to trip the overcurrent protection. Without a proper bonding connection at the fiberglass box, the fault current would have a significantly higher impedance path, potentially preventing the breaker from tripping quickly or at all. Fifthly, the role of bond bushings becomes clear. Bond bushings are used to provide a reliable bonding connection between the metal conduit and the metal enclosure. In this case, the fiberglass box doesn't provide a conductive path, so the bond bushings ensure that the EMT conduit is properly bonded to the grounding system. Sixthly, consider the specific installation. Since the EMT conduits transition to PVC after the fiberglass box, the PVC conduit does not inherently provide grounding path. Therefore, the bond bushings are necessary to maintain the grounding continuity from the EMT system. Seventhly, think about the implications of not using bond bushings. Without proper bonding, a fault in the EMT conduit system could energize the metal conduit, creating a shock hazard. Furthermore, the lack of a low impedance ground fault path could delay or prevent the operation of the overcurrent protective device, increasing the risk of fire or equipment damage. Eighthly, consider the code requirements for equipment grounding conductors. The equipment grounding conductor, often a green wire, is intended to provide a low impedance path for fault current. When EMT conduit is used as the equipment grounding conductor, it must be properly bonded to ensure its effectiveness. Ninthly, visualize the installation with and without bond bushings. With bond bushings, the EMT conduit is securely bonded to the grounding system, providing a continuous, low impedance path. Without bond bushings, there is a break in the grounding path at the fiberglass box, compromising the safety and effectiveness of the system. Tenthly, remember the importance of proper installation. Even with bond bushings, it is crucial to ensure that they are properly installed and tightened to provide a reliable connection. The bonding jumpers must also be sized appropriately for the circuit. In summary, bond bushings are required in this scenario because the connection to the panel does not provide the necessary bonding continuity through the non-conductive fiberglass box and the transition to PVC conduit. Failure to install bond bushings would violate NEC 314.3 and compromise the safety and effectiveness of the electrical system. Always consult the latest edition of the National Electrical Code and local codes for specific requirements and interpretations. Ensure that all electrical work is performed by qualified personnel who are familiar with the applicable codes and standards.